here we are. Let's begin. I'll just use these initial moments to begin to foreground our breath and our interior experience. And you may find this easier to do with eyes open or eyes closed, so you can experiment with that. Getting a sense of the interior of your head space. Getting a sense of the interior of your shoulder, chest. So this sense, I'm using a really broad stroke word, it's your sense impression. So occasionally it's a visual impression, it's a pressure or weight or a textural impression. But because it's sense, it's bodily oriented. So we're feeling with our breath. Getting behind the breastbone, getting a sense impression of what is that like behind the breastbone. What's it feel like in the stomach? The liver, the pancreas, top of the colon. That whole abdominal cavity, what's that like in there? The pelvic space. And there's no wrong answer. So your impression of this now may greatly change in a minute from now, in a practice from now. So pranayama is a way of gathering sense impressions. So once we're establishing a baseline, and two, we're priming and readying this breath-body connection for going in deeply. For our pranayama, we'll start off doing a breath hold. So we'll inhale, hold, and exhale. So we'll do that in a 1:2:2 ratio. So again, if you inhale, say 5 count, hold 10, exhale 10. Let's just get started with a few rounds of that, and then I'll bring us into part 2, okay? So again, the ratio breathing is 1:2:2. And we're just doing a few rounds, and we'll catch back up. part 2, we're going to add the Uddiyana to that. So the ratio will stay relatively the same. We'll inhale, we'll hold, we'll exhale, and we'll hold yet again. So let me talk us through. You're welcome to use your fingertips if they're helpful. Inhale, so you feel complete, the ribs expanding, the chest may lift a little bit. So now holding the breath, putting a little more stretch on the system. Press down with the fingertips. Feel the upper back lift away from the mid-back. Sink and reach the sit bones down. Press out through the heel bones a little bit, so feet are slightly active. Bring the hands forward, about a 10 count exhale. Lowering the chin toward the very top of the sternum. And we'll keep the feet active as we draw the belly in. We're drawing in, back up, drawing from the perineum, the genitals, the anus, pulling in, pulling back. Same time, sliding shoulders down, lengthening chest forward. And we're just taking that to the point of completion. So when you feel complete, relax the belly. Come back upright, resume breathing. Let's change the cross of legs for another round. I find with the, if I had been on a surface, an elevated surface, it's nice to come down to the ground. Morning all. Here we go. So with feet lightly active. Inhale till you feel complete, full, complete inhale. Gathering sense impressions of breathing into the pelvis, breathing into the abdomen, diaphragm, into the stomach organ, under the heart, through the chest wall, into the shoulders and the collar. Pause and we'll hold that breath. Again, gathering sense impressions. And here it's a quality of receptivity and listening. Right? Bringing the hands forward, exhaling. We can exhale a 10 count. Keeping the chin down, draw the belly back. And the technique as a way of getting an impression of the abdomen, the back, the pelvis. For our third and final round, let's place the soles of feet together. Right. All right. So you can use your fingertips if you like. Pressing down, inhale, third final round, Uddiyana. Just pausing, holding, gathering. Because as I'm gathering these sense impressions, whether they're images, memories, textures, tones, emotions, The act of sensing brings us into our body. It brings us into a quite specific location called body. And of course, bringing those hands forward when you're good and ready, exhaling, drawing belly back. When you're complete with that, let's resume Ujjayi breath. And we'll straighten our left leg, tucking the right heel in closely. All right, left hand will just plant down on the inner left leg. Inhale, pick the right hand up for a chest opener, fanning open the hand bones. Exhale, reach out through every fingertip. So there's an outward component to this direction. And then as I'm inhaling, kind of very specifically articulating the ribs so they lift. So they lift, they move, they get more pronounced, like out in front of the shoulder, chest opener. So you can start to get a sense of, are the shoulders in front of the chest, or is the chest in front of the shoulder? As you press with your left arm into your leg, that will allow you to reach back through your right arm. So there's a leverage component there. Side bend. Now the chest, staying rather pronounced, just wrapping, drawing the shoulder blade round, reaching right arm overhead. And just a slight shift of the arm and the shoulder tends to foreground, help us gather a sense impression of another area of the ribs. Right? You feel differently the side of the ribs, the shoulder blade, the base of the neck and the scalenes. And then going there with breath as we're gathering these impressions with our breathing awareness, our feeling, breathing awareness. And inhaling, bring that right hand down to the ground. Final part in this forward fold. You may need to adjust the hips slightly. I'm using both hands, letting that pulling action lengthen the trunk. I'm not so concerned about the descent. I'm just getting interested in how I kind of play with the architecture of body so that I can feel most prominently breath, each and every breath. If I just collapse on my belly, I tend to feel my breath less. And if I lengthen out, I tend to be able to explore my breath more. And inhale, walk the hands back toward your pelvis. We'll come upright. Voila. Other side. Simple stuff, but maybe there's an appreciation of the right side and the left side of the chest. And if something has changed, you can start to explore how far-reaching that change is. You feel it through the eye socket? Do you feel it through the collar? Do you feel it through the brain? Does this give you kind of entryway into the dura of the brain? You feel that into the peritoneum, the abdominal connective tissue. It's really amazing, these layers, these strata that we can attune to. So I'm not just trying to be a weirdo like, ooh, feel the ripples and wrinkles of your brain, but you can. If you're up for it, you can. So here we go, right hand to the ground, chest opener, inhale, draw the left arm up, and exhaling out, reach and reach back. And just note, where do you go with your breath? I notice as I'm willing to sense and explore, sensing and exploration open up. There's more opportunity, there's more potential, there's more variety, there's more depth, there's just, as I'm willing to explore, more exploration becomes available. And I notice the converse of that, the flip of that is true, which is, if I'm not really willing to feel, I just kind of get the same readout. Side bend. So inhaling, stretching the chest bones forward as you wrap that left shoulder. You're just bringing up another area of the shoulder, the ribs, the back. Just feeling, what's that? How does my breath access or touch that area behind the left shoulder blade? How do I experience my breath between the heart and the shoulder blade? Where we're full, inhale, we'll bring that left hand down to the ground. Both hands down to the ground. You might like to play with closing eyes to get a different kind of view, sense impression. You know, in our typical development, I'm presuming sightedness and normal development of that sightedness, making some presumptions for a moment, right? We have internal vision. And we even know that when people don't develop typical external sightedness, eyeball organ sightedness, and they still have these internal vision perceptions. Right? So we close our eyes, there's a different kind of vision that we have access to. We open our eyes, if we have sightedness, yet another kind of visual impression. There's a lot of kinds of visual impressions that we have in our body. And a lot of my intuitive and healer type friends rely a lot on that inner visual impression to begin working. Right? There's a quality of seeing what isn't there visually. So we can build that, we can enhance that, we can sharpen that, we can foreground that. All right, inhale, let's walk our way back up. Let's lie back. Let us have a block nearby. Let's have a roll nearby. Use this roll if you want to roll. We'll start with elbow to knee. Inhale, the head and the shoulders off the ground. Hold, curl tailbone, exhale, left leg reach out. And so here we're gathering a sense of the inside of the foot, the ankle, the calf. Pull, low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, right leg out, reach. Feeling the interior of the foot, the interior of the ankle. Is the air, can you feel the air on your skin? Pull low belly down. Inhale, bend right knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, left leg out, reach. Feeling the interior of that left knee. You can feel inside the joint. Pull low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, right leg out, reaching right leg, feeling the interior of the right knee, the space of the knee. Pull low belly down. Aha. Inhale, bend right knee. And let's continue. Let's do, 4 more per side. Sound good? Outer hip. And if there's an area of your body that kind of dominates the sense impressional field, you can play with adjusting. Like sometimes an area is dominating our impressions because we're focusing, we're concentrating there. And sometimes an area is kind of dominant in our impressions just out of habit. So we don't want to presume it's our super amazing concentration skills, even though it might be. It might be our super amazing habituations skills. There you go. Humans are very good habit makers. It's economical. Of course, I want to rely on what I've already gathered, and I want to conserve energy, right? It takes a lot to grow. It takes a lot of energy to be aware and to evolve, to change habits. All right. So we'll use that roll or that prop, whatever you've got. And with that, right between the legs, I start with the sense of my back being on the ground, the pelvis as, evenly situated as it feels good. And then I apply the block. Okay. And I don't always presume that once I set my back, my feet are going to be symmetrical, or there's a lot of instances where I'm actually a little twisted up in my body. One might be. And so to have my back down and then squeeze the legs, the feet might be slightly pointing in a different direction. Inhale into the low back, down near the hip sockets. Now apply the squeeze and press through the calves, the inner calves. Curl tailbone. Exhale, lift head and shoulders. And as you're pressing and feeling through the inner calves, extend that feeling through the inner ankle. Pull low belly down, away from the inner ankles. Inhale, set the head down, letting up slightly on that block. It's going to be a lot of pressure release through the legs. Hold the breath, squeeze, apply the pressure. Curling tailbone, exhale, head and shoulders off the ground will increase the pressure. How do we do that? We can squeeze more, we can reach, sending the ankles and the prop away from the low belly and pulling the low belly down, away from the ankles, away from the prop. Inhale, setting the head down, relax the squeeze somewhat. Hold that squeeze. Now letting that squeeze help us gather sense impressions of both hips. Exhaling, head, shoulders up, reaching the inner ankles up. Again, just gathering impressions, pulling low belly down. Inhale. Let's say 5 more. We can do that at our own. Today's practice is just about keeping us in a receptive mode of listening. Many times we'll take on a very active role in working with the energy, having a plan for it, doing something with the experience. Very useful, very beneficial. But I'm going to keep verbally pointing us to the receptive listening part of the experience. It's like maybe my legs are twisted, maybe my back does feel a little bit turned or asymmetric. could I listen and receive that impression and keep listening and sensing that impression? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's really the listening that precedes so much of our opining, our planning, our categorization. Like we're just staying in and staying with that sense perception part of the listening experience. All right, let's move that roll off to the side. Looks like we're done. We're setting up for bridge, and this is what the block will be nice for. So before we even enter bridge, just before, we're lying on the ground, our spine is on the ground, our blades are on the ground, our feet are on the ground. If I press my sole of right foot down, feel the left shoulder blade getting some pressure. And then just release that pressure. So again, it's right foot, left shoulder blade. You feel that? It's almost like you're starting to turn to the left. Now let's do the other pressure, other direction. If I press my left foot into the ground, can I feel my right shoulder blade getting pressure into the ground? It's almost like I'm turning to the right. So now both, right? Press my right foot, left shoulder blade pressure. Press the left foot, right shoulder blade pressure. Both. I just want you to feel how the foot contributes to the shoulder. It's a real simple exercise. Inhale while pressing the feet into the ground, while feeling that shoulder blade pressure. Exhale, shift the tailbone toward the sky, the buttock lifts. So I'm using my feet to generate shoulder blade pressure on the earth. Now you're welcome to do the following without any block as helpful prop. If you need the block, however, you can slide it under your sacrum at any time. And then having that right foot set. Now, as I'm pressing the right foot, I can feel pressure in the left shoulder blade. And I keep that pressure even in the right shoulder blade. Inhale, pick that left foot up. Exhale, reach that left leg toward the sky, lift it up. You may even reach it back toward your ear. And as you're deeply breathing, feel each set of ribs responding, lifting, moving, articulating. as if away from that block, away from the pelvis. We're just gathering sense impressions. Oh, you know, I feel my body differently when I have this leg up in the air than when I was doing abdominals. Now, bending the left knee will cross the left ankle over the right thigh, right above the knee. I like to generate a hook of the left foot. And then inhaling, now reaching with your breath into the hip. That right foot still pressing. I feel that as shoulder blade pressure, even shoulder blade pressure. Exhale, the left thigh bone outward. Could use the inner right foot. Inner right leg, I should say. So my right foot is generating a lot of pressure, both my shoulder blades. And somehow I'm figuring out, how do I relax, release through that left thigh? There's the lightness in all of this activity. Because often when I soften, when I manage to figure out and choose, how do I release? How do I relax? So often, sense impressions become, it's like the fidelity improves. There's a richness that seems to follow on the heels of a release gesture, a softening gesture. Let's set that left foot down to the ground. Remain in bridge for a moment. So I want you to feel those feet active. The right foot presses down. I can feel that left shoulder blade pressure. My left foot presses down. I feel that right shoulder blade pressure. Both. There we go. Now, maintaining that left foot pressure. Both shoulder blade pressure. Inhale, we'll pick the right foot up. And exhaling, reach it skyward. So for me to feel that pressure in both shoulder blades, I've got to use the inner left leg, that inner left, exactly, Marcy, exactly. Yeah, that inner left leg is super relevant too. I'm going to get right up in your business. So there's there you go, press all the way to the inner foot and keep with the outer foot. There you go. So you can even be pressing through that left foot, reaching that left thigh bone away from your nose. Ah, yeah, there it is. That's it, Marcy. Zing. All right, bending right knee, inhale the ankle atop the thigh. Okay, a nice flex of the foot. And keep that left pressure going. The work of the left foot and hip influences that gesture of release in the right half of the pelvis. There you go. There it is. And inhaling, we'll set that right foot down to the ground. Both feet press. Lift tailbone, butt away from that block. We'll remove it. And we'll begin our descent. Go as carefully and as smoothly as necessary, bringing the upper back down, and feel how that upper back moving to the ground might feel radically different than the middle part of the back, which might feel radically different from the lower part of your back. We've arrived. Let's turn onto a side and we'll prepare for dolphin. We'll be working dorsal fin today. Dorsal fin, just might want to hear this or see this before we get too involved. Just as a visual reminder, is where I'll be grabbing my foot with my opposite hand. So if, for example, I am or can take one hand from the ground, we were playing with this the other day, you might be able to grab the opposite foot. Okay? But I'll talk us through because there's lots of stopping off points. You might want to just stage yourself at one of those places. All right, so we set up for dolphin, all the same. Elbows under shoulders, knees under hips, forearms out in front. Pushing the earth. Inhale into the sides of the ribs. Edges of the shoulders. Exhaling, knees off ground. Allow the head to relax. Now, for some of us, balancing weight on one shoulder is not a great move, so I invite you to just maintain arms on ground. But for those of you for whom it is possible and workable, I'm going to talk through the arms first. Have the feet about hip width apart, and we'll begin by shifting the weight into the right arm. Then I remove the left elbow and maybe the left hand fingertips from the ground. A lot of times I keep my fingertips right near the ground just in case I need a little kickstand. Okay. Now raise right foot off ground. Okay, now you might want to choose just working at any one of these places I'm describing. And if you feel inclined, left hand may reach for right foot. That means you need to bend the right knee. A little perceptual play, because you know there's a foot back there. And that hand might be swimming around going, I'm not sure where that foot is. All fun and games. All right, we'll set that right foot down. We'll set the left forearm down. Now we'll shift the weight into the left forearm. You can remove the right elbow, keeping the fingertips nearby, or you can take the right hand and take it away completely, putting it behind the back. Smoothly raise the left foot. And if you're inclined, you can bend that left knee and find the foot with the right hand. We'll set that left foot down. Place a right palm down. We can set the knees down from there. when you're ready to stand, we'll take a wide stance. So we'll be working a chest opener in that fold. So interlace hands behind back. Yeah, the feet 3-4 feet apart, straight legs. Inhale, lifting chest. So you're spreading your breath under that chest wall. Exhale, hinge, fold forward. And lifting the knuckles away from the ears. Now, if we've been doing this style of practice for a while together, I just want to name that proclivity to, want to create or do the stretch to get at something. And you may feel that. It's like this can prove to be a really effective feeling practice. And then we try to do it, and we're going to do this and get it. Efficacy really, really working for me. I just want to name that because it's a little bit different than our practice as stated today. But I'm remaining in that receptive mode where I'm simply accruing impressions. It's rich and deep listening. And I'm not even necessarily doing anything with that information. But how is this efficient? How is this a good use of my time, Gwen? How dare you? And deepening listening. Inhale, bring the hands down to the sacrum. We can let them go there. Place the hands down on the ground under your head. And we'll adjust into warrior two. So opening up, turning the right foot to the right. And we'll go right hand on right thigh bone. I'm keeping the left hand under my left shoulder. Head to ankle prep. Feet active. So I don't want to clutch the ground with my toe ligaments and my toe pads. But I want to spread the foot just slightly. You don't have to go super exaggerated on it, but just ungripping feet. Inhale. Can you feel the bottom of the pelvis, the pelvic floor? Can you feel the sides around the pelvis, the waist, the lumbar, those thicker tissues around the low back? And then exhaling, as that right hand gently presses, it's a slight side bend through the right side. You might play this more like a hip opening. You might play this move as a side bend. And then careful release. Place the hand down, inhale. Let's walk the hands toward the top of the mat. Exhaling, chaturanga. Just step that right foot back. And when we set the knees down, it's just so we can grab a block. And at the foot of our mat, set that block right between the inner ankles. As we do these little doses of hip work, I just want to keep coming back to the rotation of the hips. Okay. So one of the ways I can kind of move my own leg bone is by curling a set of toes under and kind of pulling my own leg bone back. So I curl toes under, I reach the heel back, I pull the entire leg back, and I just set it down. I could do that on the other side. Okay. Now I'll squeeze the block. Shift the tailbone while squeezing the block. We're going to move into cobra for 3 breaths. Inhale into the abdomen, the legs powerfully on, rotating into that block. Pulling the chest forward, remain right here as we exhale. 2 more very deep breaths. Just letting that breath work through the abdominal wall and under and behind the spine. And then lowering down. So much of our deep, deep hip structure pertains to our low back and how we may feel twisted or supported or jammed up. So I'm going to keep playing around with these subtle but deep, deep connections. Inhale, hands under chest. Exhaling, downward dog. Now, just as a play, emphasize the pressure in your right palm, creating an emphasized pressure in your left foot. You're actually creating it a little bit. Yep. And then emphasize pressure in your left hand to generate an emphasized pressure in your right foot. And both together, there might be a little back and forth play as we're kind of balancing our feeling awareness across both halves of our body. There's something so valuable about this very simple left-right play in the body. So there's simple moves, but there's hopefully sparking on some cool nervous system tricks. There you go. There you go. Inhale your left foot forward, warrior 2 for head to ankle prep. So it's a warrior 2 stance. And I've got the left hand on the left thigh, the right hand under my right shoulder. Feet gently active. Inhale. Exhaling, receiving sense impression. I find it super interesting that when, as humans, we're developing radically different ways of perceiving, there's always a receptive component that's quite prominent and necessary. Reception and listening is required to make some really significant developmental jumps in our perception. So there's really no end to this listening receptivity skill set. It's so good, it's so crucial. Relaxing the jaw so you can feel a little bit of space between the molar cusps. There you go. The lips get a little softer. Yeah, exactly, Joy. Exactly. You feel how the lips and the hips are strangely united. All right, releasing. Inhale. Let's walk the hands toward that left foot. Please know when we step back, we're using that block that's in the vicinity of the feet, lowering down. Okay. You're always welcome to do that little extraction move where kind of drawing the leg bone back away from the pelvis and then squeezing the inner ankles into that block. Fingertips to the bottom of the butt. Sit bones, they're there. Squeeze firmly that block so both legs are working. And feel both glutes turning on under the fingertips. Inhale. Lift, draw the chest up. Exhale, send those legs straight back, away from your low back. Some of my rotational athletes, any of my athletes who are like doing a lot of circles, like golfers and track racers and race car drivers, the abdominal wall can actually develop thicker in one half of our body from all that and then release. So it's not uncommon to feel the abdominal wall able to soften on one half than the other differently. Inhale, hands under chest. Exhale, downward dog. All right, I'm just playing with that hand-foot connection. Generating an emphasized pressure through the right palm to create an emphasized pressure in the left foot. And then left hand presses right foot is recipient of that pressure. There you go. There it is. Now let's take a deep breath, because some of you got that core firing. That's cool, Marcy. Like the gut, the hold it together reflex stuff started working differently. So deeply breathe. There you go. Good. Inhale, step the right foot forward, warrior two. Reaching arms out to the side. We're going to move directly into eagle. Exhale the left elbow over the right. If I want to enhance sense perception, kind of gather more impression, I deepen breath. So if I keep my breath quite narrow or compartmentalized or focused, I can receive impressions, but just from a limited area. So we get how this feeling, this awareness, this sensing is contingent on our attention, our breath, and allowing the content to move, to express, to reveal itself. Inhale and wind arms. Reach them all the way out to the sides. You're opening up the hands, opening up that shoulder joint. Reverse warrior. Exhale, left hand to left leg. Raise the right arm. And as you're reaching out through the right arm, no matter its position, feel the shoulder joint. Feel the spaciousness inside the shoulder joint. So whether you wrap, whether you don't wrap, it's fine, but can you feel the shoulder joint as, there we go, spacious. There you go. If there's any subtle biting with the jaw or the clamping with the throat or around the teeth, and just soften those. There you go. And inhale, take that right arm up, straighten the right leg as we prepare for triangle. You may need to adjust the left foot. Sometimes I bring mine in. Exhale, reach through the right hand, lengthening this right side of ribs. Setting that right hand down. Now I'll set the right hand down, so I'm taking care of the left hip or the sacrum. Okay. So if I end up putting that hand too close to the ground, sometimes I might experience some discomfort in the sacrum. So I let the hip guide where my hand needs to go today. Now I'm turning on that left glute, just like I had moments ago when we're lying on the ground, we engage the buttock muscle. I'm just noticing if I'm tending to manage the impressions I'm gathering in my body. Am I steering away from them? Am I kind of ramping up tension? Am I starting to try to guide the sensation in a particular way? I think these are subtle things to notice about oneself. Inhale, bring the left hand down to the right leg as we prepare for pyramid. Bend this right knee. Bend it so that you can easily just drag or slide that left foot forward. And then I reshift my weight back. In pyramid, my hips are facing the right foot. Inhale, ribs telescope toward that right foot. Can you feel a lengthening quality? Maybe it lengthens, but only up to a certain point. If I discover such a certain point, is it possible to pause and receive that impression, the impression of there being a certain point? and then softening to receive that impression more fully. You notice we're not altering the experience. We're finding ways to be in our body that permit the impression to be there. Can I feel a limitation in my body and actually allow for it to be there? I perceive a limit, and that limit is welcome in my experience. There you go. And then the necks start to relax. It's really fascinating. It's really interesting. All right, bend knees, inhale, step that left foot forward. We're arriving at standing pigeon. Grab your right foot with both hands. There'll be two poses into this, so if you need some wall support, you're welcome to the wall here. So I'm still gotta get to that left butt glute. That's helping me here, hopefully. That inner left leg. Yeah. So all of that squeezing the block musculature comes on for that left leg. Mm-hmm. Good. Now, right hand, take the inner right foot. I'm going to squeeze this right knee in. Again, that's right hand to the inside of right foot. Optional, left hand reaches back. Optional, left hand does not reach back. The left hand does what left hand wants. And inhaling, we'll set that right foot down. Exhaling, step back, chaturanga. May there be a block there. So you're welcome to continue with the fingertips on the bottom of the butt, that little bow variation. I'm going to interlace my hands. I'm going to do this boat. Squeeze the block, turning on the inner legs right through to the ankle bones and the arch. Inhale into the abdomen. So under the low back. Exhale, reach the knuckles back. And give this a couple more deep breaths. And release. Inhale, hands under chest. Exhaling, downward dog. I 100% understand the impulse to kind of ask, what am I doing? What am I doing? What should I be doing here? What should I be doing here? Receiving sense impressions And again, our sense impressions may come through as pressure. It's kind of that electrical current, vision, memories, a sense of torsion, the way the body twists or opens or spreads or compresses. How the breath flows in and through this pose. A sense of contact, that breath-body contact. Porosity, opacity, translucence, transparency. Right. Inhale, step the left foot forward, warrior two. We are moving into eagle. So that's exhaling the right over the left, right over left. And, just I'm pointing toward just some possible outcomes that we've accrued over our lifetime. So this isn't say, this is what you're doing. But just as a result of life, we may have developed some habits about how much of a sense impression we're willing to take in. And so one of the ways I can start to learn that is I'm feeling my breathing. Has my breathing grown diminished? Am I subtly adjusting the pose so that I'm feeling less sensation? Do I subtly distract so that I'm interfering, creating visual interference with sense impression? Inhaling, unwind. Straighten the left leg as we prepare for triangle. Edging in that right foot may prove useful. We're exhaling, reaching through the, thank you. Reverse warrior. So this is why. I'm glad you're here. All right, we're back in warrior two because we need to do reverse warrior. Right hand to right leg. And we lift this left arm towards sky. Grasping reduces sense impressions. So I just start to feel the spread, the openness of the foot. I'm feeling the openness or the fluidity in the knee joint. Am I locked up there? Do I kind of stifle impressions through the knee? Do I stifle impressions in my hip socket? Yeah. And the breathing will attune us to that. A current, a fluid breath feels much different than a compartmentalized breath. Inhale, let's take that left arm up and over. Now we'll straighten that left leg. Adjusting the stance for triangle if necessary. Exhale. I'm engaging my buttock muscles right at the onset. Reaching that left hand forward. And you can set that left hand down on the left leg, raising that right arm up. Ooh, there's it. Receiving these sense impressions. Do I sense more the surface of the body or the depth of the body? Am I feeling from the outside through the skin in? Am I feeling from the inside up into the skin and out? Of course, we develop habits of perception. Right? We're just playing with that. Now, we're moving from triangle to pyramid. So let's bend that left knee, inhaling the right hand down. And just drag, barely step or pull that right foot forward. Just there's not a lot of up, down, a lot of stepping, just a kind of a rocking the weight forward and backward. Sometimes as we start to get into this sacral area, we just need to mind our transitions. I know there might be a couple of us that can experience a little grab or a hitch if we do anything too suddenly. Yeah, anytime we're working with the sacrum, we want those transitions to be really liquidic. And part of that liquidity can be aided with breath, feeling breath under the sacral bones. Right in here. Seems like you're getting breath right under these bones. There you go. Good. Now bending knee, left knee. Inhale, step, lightly step or drag that right foot forward. And we'll arrive at standing. There's a pigeon here for us. We're standing on right foot, grabbing left foot. There's two poses here, starting with standing pigeon. Okay. If I reach a limit, perfect. We can listen or sense a limit. So listening is this extraordinary sacred intervention. Listening before any opinion. Listening without opinion. receiving the impression without any strategizing. Just sacred intervention can be so illuminating. There you go. Yeah. Now here we go, that other part. Left hand to the inside of left foot. Doing a standing alternate twist. So the direction my right toes are pointing, that's the direction I send my left foot. Wall aplenty. Reaching the right hand back. And if you are reaching that arm back, reach, open up through the chest. You feel that shoulder space. Maybe. Yeah, it takes just a little extra, like, opening to it. Give it one more breath moment. If you step down, that's okay. We got another moment if you... Yes. And inhale, we'll set that down. Hands to ground. Remembering there's a block back there. Exhale, we'll step back, find that block, lowering down. A grand squeeze. Cobra. So the legs engage, both thighs situated on the ground, tailbone shifts. Inhale, draw the chest forward. Exhaling, lower down, downward dog. All right, gently set the knees down. Do some prep moves, and if we get to see each other tomorrow, we'll just keep building off this. I'm going to do this with the wall, but it's a dragonfly prep. Now, there's a number of ways we can do this. Let me just show you the spread. This is like walking by with a dessert cart. Allow me to show you your options. It's basically getting one arm to the same side foot. So often we're approaching that through twisting pigeon toward the foot. Okay? So that is an option. Sometimes we're approaching that more from seated shoelace, twisting toward the foot. So these are very stable options. So if you need to stay close to the ground, that's your gig. With the wall, I'm going to go hook, bend, twist. Now, why I like the wall, especially if I have a nice little like ledge or grabber on her, I can use the wall to elongate. And it's that in and of itself, just that ability to kind of pull my chest up is a significant hip opening move. Okay? So I am forearm distance from the wall, should you choose to use it. Okay? So let's select a side to begin working. I'll be taking us through this dragonfly prep using the wall. Remember, you're welcome to do pigeon twisting toward foot, shoelace twisting toward foot. while they're all kind of in the same family of each other, there's really nothing like Dragonfly prep on the wall. So seated with my side next to the wall about 1.5 feet away, I bend the leg that's closest to the wall and I cross the other ankle over it. Okay. And then when you're ready, you'll hook same side arm over foot. And use that hand pressure on the ground, press. Use that palm on the wall, pull. Mm-hmm. We'll spend a little bit of time on each side. I'll give us the when we receive these sense impressions, don't you find that it's so often when we feel deeply seen, heard, and felt is when things really start to move? There you go. Mm-hmm. Good. One more very deep breath on this side. There you go. Nice. Now carefully release and unwind. And we'll trade sides, which requires just turning 180 degrees. Here we go. Yep, exactly, Joy. Yep. The leg that's closest to the wall bends. The foot furthest from the wall, ankle over, ankle over. There you go. And Kara, you can really use that wall, that right hand, and pull. Yep, that's it. That's it. It's that very like cobra-esque pulling, literally bone away from bone. So I'm lifting mid back away from low back, upper back away from mid back. Want to enhance receptivity, the fidelity thereof, deepen breath. Mm-hmm. And now, let me feel the inhale as prominently as the exhale. There you go. Now, really soft exhale. Just, there you go. There you go. There you go. Mm-hmm. Like 1 or 2 more very full breaths. There you go. And when it's time to release, take your time. We'll be lying back for Shavasana. So if you want to rest with your legs up the wall, that can be a really nice post-hip thing to do. And it's receiving the sense impression of rest. And as we sincerely listen, do you find a quality of listening akin to warmth or a kindness, compassion? Do you feel that in your body? Now, when you're ready, bend knees. Turn to a side. And press to seated. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Namaste.